Amy, great to see you. How have you been?
I am awesome. How are you?
I'm really good, Amy. Thank you for all the conversations over the year, part one. Part two, thank you for today's conversation. It's always great to catch up with you. So, listen, I would guess that most of our viewers and listeners are familiar with you, but for those who aren't, folks, Amy Luby is the Chief Channel Evangelist at Acronis. And that really involves overseeing the Acronis community. And now the word community can mean different things to different people. What exactly does it mean in your ecosystem?
Well, Joe, so in our ecosystem, community means our basically entire breadth, if you will, of partners across the globe. And the whole purpose of our community team is to bring the human element into the relationship, the one-on-one, just like you and I,
Right.
meeting, talking, hanging out, finding out about each other, what makes us tick and the things that are important to us. Acronis wants to foster that and create the space for that kind of dialogue and relationship to happen.
Got it. Excellent. Now, in terms of Acronis and the various partner types in the community, now I got to admit, sometimes I'm guilty of lumping all MSPs under one umbrella or under one single term, managed service providers. But I know Acronis has different types of partners in the ecosystem. Who are you basically engaging with? What types of companies?
Well, so from a practical perspective, our primary focus, if you will, is MSPs. And just like you mentioned, Joe, I'm using that in the broadest sense of the term because there are a lot of different types within our ecosystem, right? There's cloud service providers, there's a traditional, if you will, MSP. There are cloud distributors, there are marketplaces, there are classic distributors and value-added distributors. And then, there's actual communities that also aggregate and sell product. So for us, we're covering that broad ecosystem here and engaging those communities either within our own space, meaning our partner portal, our forums, et cetera, or within the community that we formed in the last year and a half or so, Modern MSP, or engaging where the other communities exist. So events or peer groups, those types of places. So we're hitting them as broadly as we can for engagement there.
Got it. Okay. Now, I do want to ask about sort of the interactions between Acronis and other communities. But before we get to that, I almost want to sort of zoom in on your community a little more closely. And, on the one hand, you're working with thousands of partners worldwide. On the other hand, have you set up sort of additional listening posts, maybe at advisory councils, et cetera, to more closely engage and keep your finger on the pulse on what partners need?
Right. So exactly. Yes. So we have our existing partners who are doing business with us today. Right. And of course, we want to know exactly what they need, what they care about, whether we're doing a good job or not with our product, with our partner program, with our pricing, with the finance model, all of with our support team, all of it. So yes, we formed partner advisory councils that are regional. So like US, for example, US-based partner advisory council, UK-based partner advisory councils. And what we do is we get together and listen. I mean, it's literally a listening mechanism. Tell us what you care about. What are your priorities? And let's tackle those priorities ranked, top through bottom. What do you need from us? We've done a tremendous amount of work. It's actually been a lot of fun working with the partner advisory councils this year. We've made significant changes and or improvements to the platform itself, to how we support and engage our partners, how they access our support, different things that they shared with us that said, hey, doing business with you is good, but there's some friction here. So can you help remove the friction? So it's been a really interesting engagement there. And then to, another thing, if you will, that we've done to listen, that also brings in the greater community, meaning not just our existing partners, but maybe partners who are talking to us, but don't yet know whether they want to do business with us or not. And then the greater community. So we hold a peer group type session. We call it Cyber Speakeasy. We've branded it, if you will. But it's literally peer discussion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Come, if you sign up and register early enough, we actually send you a pack of microbrews, and we do a beer tasting at the beginning of it. So we learn literally how to taste beer like a beer snob. But then the rest of it is all nerd conversation. It's all about security. It's all about building your business. What are the challenges that our partners and the community are experiencing? How can we help each other? And where that's going. So we've kept it clearly virtual for most of the time. So in 2022, we're going to start to actually go out to the different cities and the different regions that we work in and start building those meetup groups. Same concept, but let's meet live. Let's build community in person. And so we're putting the people and the process and the things in place to make that happen come
Excellent.
next year.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. So building on that, so you just gave us sort of a deep dive into Acronis and the Acronis community. Zoom out for me. Do you, does Acronis have blinders on and only see the Acronis universe, or are you active in third-party communities, other vendor communities, other association communities, et cetera?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not just about Acronis, right? It's really more about our partners. And where do our partners go? Where do they hang out? Who do they listen to? Like, as far as, what books do they read and what websites do they go to? Are they on channel E to E, right? So yeah, we go to all the different types of events and conferences, places where peer groups let us in, things like that. So that we can actually engage with the greater community.
Got it. Okay. Now, also, your existing partners, I think they understand the overall Acronis value prop, but for those who don't, maybe they haven't been in touch with Acronis in recent years. Can you talk us through a little bit how this is far more than a backup and recovery story at this point, in terms of where the company is and how you're helping partners? How are you empowering partners at this point?
Right. So you're right. So Acronis has been around for about 19 years, almost 20 years, right? And we're most well known as a backup and disaster recovery platform. What many don't know yet, or are just starting to find out, is that Acronis evolved, if you will, over the past 5, 6 or so years into a full suite of cyber protection tools. So knowing that cybersecurity is not just about backup and recovering, it's very much also about being proactive to prevent breaches in the first place, and to cover all the layers of your network and your systems and your applications that you can. So the platform itself absolutely is a very mature backup and disaster recovery platform, but is extended out to the endpoints with advanced endpoint protection, URL filtering, threat feed, threat scoring, vulnerability scanning, patching, email. There's so much in there that most partners are covering with point products today. So the value prop in doing that, in actually building a fully integrated and automated platform, is the integration and automation. Delivers proactive protection without having to jump console to console to console, or actually have alerts in one system, but you don't see them in another, et cetera. It's actually delivering a streamlined experience on the service desk for our partners to deliver proactive protection.
Got it. I'm going to show my age a little bit. It reminds me of all the conversations we had in the quote unquote early years of this industry. Not too early. I mean, I launched my first MSP oriented website in 2008. I should say co-launched. But when you and I first met around that time, you were building and running an MSP. And I remember you talking about, hey, Joe, I need to mitigate risk. I need to automate, and I need to make sure that risk mitigation and automation also drives recurring revenues and maximizes profits. Fast forward 15 some odd years, and here we are. And it feels like the software industry with Acronis and the messaging out there is sort of like delivering on the very things you were talking about to me 10, 15 years ago. Is that a accurate way to summarize sort of the journey we've been on, or not so much?
No, I think you're spot on. And I think most software vendors have they see the need in that too. Now we actually have the technology to enable that, with artificial intelligence, machine learning, the heuristics, all of the information gathered now in platforms. I mean, if you look at Acronis, it makes perfect sense. They're a backup and disaster recovery platform. They collect data on the data that exists out there in the network, in the cloud, wherever it's at, perfectly poised to deliver protection around that data. But I was super excited. I have to confess, when I was referred into Acronis, the first response I had was, why would I want to go work for a backup company? Like, what, we're way beyond backup. But then when I began to understand what Acronis was doing, and how they were enabling partners to actually get proactive with security, which that's the core tenet of a managed services provider, is proactive protection, proactive remediation, uptime, all of that, keeping their end users working. But with the complexity and the barrage, if you will, of cyber criminals and activity, we've all been kind of knocked into a reactive posture. The Cyber Protect platform flips that back to enable partners to be proactive again, which is exciting to me, with the complexity that's here, to be able to make some sense of that and deliver better protection is really exciting.
Got it. Now, for the partners who want to learn more about this and/or begin a journey with Acronis or go deeper on a journey with Acronis, I always view it as sort of two closely related doors to access and work closely with Acronis. There's sort of the community door in the community portal, and then there's the partner door or the partner portal. Are there particular URLs or destinations that the partners should look for as they're looking to work more closely with either A, community, and/or B, the partner program?
Yeah, so let me clarify a little bit what the community portal is. Okay, so the vision and the idea here is this: we all need to work together. There is too much complexity today. Cyber criminals, I mean, you think about it, there's a company ransomed every 14 seconds, right? So if you think about that statistic, we can't close a support ticket in that amount of time. Like, it's too much, right? There's 4 million open recs globally for security professionals. So the skill set is hard to come by, and it's very, very expensive. We all need to work together. And the one thing about the MSP community globally, as you know, I mean, the past 20 years, we're extremely community oriented. We help each other out. Sometimes it sounds like, well, if there's an MSP down the street, why would I want to talk to them about what they're doing? They're a competitor. Yeah, they are, but we're all kind of in this together. So the core tenet of the modern MSP community is to be a vendor neutral space for all of us to come together, to be able to communicate and to collaborate in real time to help each other grow, whether it's delivering cyber protection or whether it's hiring your first salesperson, or whether it's streamlining the operations on your service desk, how can we help each other be better? So that's the core tenet of Modern MSP. Where you can find Modern MSP is modernmsp.io. We also have our Facebook group, so you can go either place. Now, to find out more about Acronis, the partner program, how the platform works, all of those things, you can hit us up at acronis.com/partners. And that'll take you, and you can find all the information that you need from there.
Well, fantastic. Amy, thank you for the pointers. Always great to catch up with you. Have a great new year, and I look forward to continued updates from Acronis in 2022.
Joe, thank you so much. I really appreciate being here. Okay. You have a wonderful holiday.